The hottest twin boys in school pranked me, pretending to be the same guy while dating me. During the day, Sebastian was cold and distant. At night, his twin brother Julian was warm and affectionate. But here's the thing, I could see floating comments. Julian sacrificing so much for his brother's happiness. To keep her from finding out Sebastian's dating another girl. He has to force himself to be with her at night. Poor guy. I didn't cry. I didn't get angry. That night, casually told Julian, we've been together 3 months now. Don't you think we should take things further? He froze. I tilted my head innocently. Didn't you agree to this during the day? The next day, I told the cold Sebastian. You're so sweet at night, I like that version of you way better. Sebastian looked furious. I first noticed something weird about Sebastian one night. Usually distant guy took off his jacket, revealing a tight black tank top. He dropped to one knee and wrapped his arms around my waist. Like a needy puppy. He pressed his head against my stomach. Please don't leave, he whispered. His eyes were all glossy as he asked me to pour him a drink. Stay with me longer. Normally, Sebastian kept every button of his shirt fastened tight. He'd press his lips together, clutch his textbooks and say he needed to get back to study. It didn't feel like dating. More like he was tolerating some wealthy person who paid his tuition. I ran my fingers through his hair and said gently, you'll miss dorm curfew. Let me drive you back to campus. At those words, his burning arms tightened around my waist. Can I stay the night here? He asked nervously. I was about to answer when I saw the floating comments. Oh my god, Julian pretending to be Sebastian is so disgusted. His skin is crawling. Haha, Julian's sacrifice for his brother's love life is huge. This time my expression shifted as I looked at the man in front of me. I slowly lifted his chin, studied that beautiful youthful face. Young people can't hide their feelings. Well, behind all the clinginess, the affection, the eagerness, there was stiffness and resistance he couldn't quite conceal. Well, if we're playing games, let's make it fair. I smiled. Sure. I leaned in. Julian thought I was going to kiss him and instinctively pulled back. But I only kissed his forehead. He blinked in surprise. My thumb gently brushed his temple. Silly. I'm not going to get you drinks. They're bad for you. Julian's ears and neck flushed bright red. He stared at me for a second, looking almost shocked. I said softly, take a shower and sleep in the guest room. Winning someone over takes patience. Next day, Sebastian looked at me hesitantly. Last night, did we? I looked confused. What? Seeing? I hadn't noticed anything. Sebastian relaxed and returned to his cold demeanor. Nothing. I rested, my chin on my hand and watched him. At the edge of his collar, I could faintly see half a mark. Clearly his first time. No experience covering these things up. What's that? Sebastian frowned and pulled his collar up. Nothing, just a mosquito bite. El Mayo. That's clearly from last night when he was with the other girl. These poor lovebirds finally got some alone time. Yeah, in a couple years. When Sebastian graduates and becomes financially independent, they won't have to hide anymore. He can finally break up with that sponsor. Sponsor. I'm only 28. I raised an eyebrow in displeasure. Sebastian said quietly, you're jealous again. Stop acting like this. It's embarrassing if other students see. I replied absently, yeah. I'm even jealous of mosquitoes. That night, Julian came back pretending to be Sebastian. He even faked a mark on his neck, red and swollen. I waved him over. Come here, let me put some medicine on that. Julian leaned into my arms. I applied some ointment and gently blew on it. Julian, who'd been staring off into space, suddenly shivered. His ears turned red again. I said softly, don't hurt yourself like this anymore. He stammered, how did you? He stopped himself mid-sentence. He just said quietly, okay, thank you. Julian leaned closer and gently hugged me, going along with the lie. I just wanted you to care about me, to spend more time with me. That's why I hurt myself. I didn't call him out. Is that so? How should I spend time with you? Julian stuttered. Maybe a kiss. I leaned in. He thought I'd only kiss his forehead again, but I kissed him on the lips. Julian's pupils contracted. I looked down at him and whispered, open your mouth. Remember to breathe. Julian trembled instinctively, holding me tight like a drowning person caught in a current, desperately clinging to me as his only lifeline. Even his tongue was stiff. With inexperience, I pulled back. He stared at me, chest heaving. I acted confused. This isn't our first time. Why are you so nervous? Julian snapped back. I decided to stop there. Teasing him a little was enough. I smiled and got up, giving him space to process. That was his first kiss. Look. Julian's so disgusted. He's completely frozen. He's really sacrificing for his brother's happiness. But why? Why does his expression look more like he's savoring it? Julian and I started kissing frequently. He was passionate and stylish with a great body and gorgeous looks. I really enjoyed it, so I bought him lots of clothes and accessories, like carefully selecting a custom paint job for your car. Spend a little money, and ultimately you're the one who gets to enjoy looking at it first. Sebastian would wear some of the new clothes I bought, to maintain the disguise. After a few days, he gave up. I casually asked, where's the couple ring I gave you yesterday? Why aren't you wearing it? Sebastian, who'd been reading, suddenly looked up. He froze. What ring? He caught himself halfway through, and had to forcibly swallow his frustration, pushed all his resentment down. He frowned and looked down. I probably forgot. At night, Julian still wore the shiny couple ring on his finger. He pulled me into a full embrace with a smile. Whispered, I'll always wear the ring you gave me. Will you spend more time with me? I smiled and said yes. While Julian was showering, I saw his phone's chat history. His brother had asked somewhat anxiously, where's the couple ring? Julian, what ring? Haven't seen it. Sebastian went silent. After a few minutes, he sent Julian, she's just a shallow, terrible woman. Julian replied quickly, I know bro. I'm just playing along with her. Don't worry about it. I've got my own rhythm. You and your girl. Just focus on being happy together. After a long pause, Sebastian sent another message. This one Julian hadn't seen yet. You guys haven't done anything right. I looked at the phone and smiled. Typed back, bro. Nothing inappropriate happened. What's inappropriate? What's appropriate? Knowing Sebastian's personality, his excessive pride, probably wouldn't let him ask that question directly. Sure enough, Sebastian held back and said nothing more. I casually deleted both messages. Julian walked out wrapped in a towel, hair still wet. I looked at him. I knew he was doing this on purpose. There was even a hint of strange competitiveness in it. I said softly, want to sleep in the master bedroom? Julian hesitated for a second. His eyes reddened slightly. He coughed and said quietly okay. Julian sat on the edge of the bed like a wet puppy, lost and stiff, nervous and rigid. I saw the floating comments filled with distress. Julian, you're not usually this awkward. Are you really going to sacrifice this much? Everyone calm down. Sebastian really dislikes this woman. So he previously lied and said he's traditional, that he won't be close with anyone before marriage. She wouldn't force herself on him knowing that, right? The air in the bedroom was thick enough to choke on. Julian sat on the edge of my king-sized bed, water droplets from his wet hair darkening the gray silk of his pajama top, the one I bought him last week. He looked like a man marching to the gallows, or perhaps, a man trying desperately to convince himself he was a martyr. Traditional. I murmured, more to myself than to him. Julian flinched. What? Sebastian told me he was traditional. I said, walking over to my vanity to remove my earrings. I watched him in the mirror. His eyes tracked my every movement, dark and unreadable. That he wanted to wait until marriage. Are you still sticking to that principle? Julian swallowed hard. His Adam's apple bobbed. Yes. Of course. Why wouldn't I? I turned around, leaning back against the dresser. Because you're in my bedroom, Julian. At midnight. Wearing silk pajamas I paid for. It doesn't scream monk, does it? He stood up, agitated. I just wanted to be close to you. Is that a crime? I walked toward him slowly. He held his ground, but I could see the tension in his shoulders. When I reached him, I didn't touch him. I just stood close enough to smell the expensive sandalwood soap I kept in the guest bath. No crime, I whispered. But lying is. I reached out and unbuttoned the top button of his pajama shirt. His breath hitched. Oh God, Julian, run. She's a predator. Sebastian is going to kill him if he finds out. Wait, why isn't he pushing her away? The floating comments were frantic. But Julian wasn't running. He was trembling, yes, but he wasn't pulling back. He was leaning in, just a fraction of an inch. I'm tired, I said abruptly, stepping back. You can sleep on the couch in here if you want. Or go back to the guest room. Julian blinked, disoriented. The spell broke. Oh, okay. I'll take the couch. He grabbed a pillow and practically threw himself onto the chaise lounge in the corner, turning his back to me. I climbed into bed, turning off the lamp. In the dark, I heard his breathing, shallow, fast. He wasn't disgusted. He was aroused. And terrified of it. The next morning, I drove Sebastian to campus. He was in a foul mood. You look tired, I noted, tapping the steering wheel. Late night studying? Sebastian glared out the window. Something like that. Julian slept in my room last night. I dropped the bomb casually, watching his reflection in the rearview mirror. Sebastian whipped his head around. What? On the couch, I added quickly, enjoying the panic that flared in his eyes. He had a nightmare. Poor thing. He's surprisingly sensitive, isn't he? Unlike you. Sebastian's jaw clenched so hard I thought he might crack a tooth. He shouldn't have been in your room. It's inappropriate. We're dating, Sebastian, I laughed. Or have you forgotten? Besides, he's so much warmer than you. Maybe I should just date him instead. He's my brother. Sebastian snapped. And he's busy. He has a life. You can't just switch. Why not? You look identical. We pulled up to the curb of his dorm. Sebastian scrambled out, slamming the door. But before he walked away, I saw him pull out his phone and furiously type a message. I checked the clone version of Julian's phone on my tablet. Money buys great hackers. Sebastian. What the hell were you doing in her room? Julian, replied 2 minutes later, calm down. I slept on the couch. I had to keep up the act. She was suspicious. Sebastian. She says she likes you better. Tone it down. Be colder. Julian. Maybe you should try being warmer, bro. Unless you want to lose the tuition money. I smirked. The alliance was fracturing. That afternoon, I decided to visit Sebastian on campus unannounced. I brought lunch, sushi from the place he pretended to like but actually hated. He was allergic to shellfish, Julian wasn't. A detail I noticed early on. I found him in the library. But he wasn't alone. A girl was sitting next to him. She was pretty in a wholesome, girl-next-door way. No makeup, mais si vous, oversize sweater. The opposite of me. They were whispering, their heads close together. Sebastian was smiling, a real smile, one that reached his eyes. I'll look at them. True love. Poor Sebastian having to hide this. That rich witch is going to ruin everything if she sees them. I walked right up to the table. Sebastian. The girl jumped. Sebastian turned pale. Who is this? I asked, looking at the girl. This is my study partner, Sebastian stammered. Emily. Yemi. Ipamat. I'm Sebastian's girlfriend. I brought lunch. Sushi. I slammed the bento box down on the table. Emily looked at the sushi, then at Sebastian. She knew. She knew he was allergic. Oh, Emily said quietly. That's nice. Eat up, babe, I urged Sebastian. It's your favorite. Remember? You ate a whole platter on our first date. He hadn't. Julian had. Julian loved shrimp tempura. Sebastian stared at the shrimp. Sweat beaded on his forehead. If he refused, he admitted he lied about liking it. If he admitted he was allergic, he admitted he wasn't the person I went on that date with. I'm not hungry, Sebastian said. Nonsense. I opened the chopsticks. Just one bite. For me. I said I'm not hungry. Sebastian shouted, standing up. The library went silent. Emily looked terrified. Seb, calm down. I have to go. Sebastian grabbed his bag. Emily, come on. He dragged the girl away, leaving me with the expensive sushi and a satisfied smirk. That night, Julian didn't come over. Instead, I got a text from Sebastian's number. I'm sick. Can't make it tonight. I didn't reply. I drove to their shared apartment off campus. I knocked on the door. No answer. I used the key I had accidentally forgotten to return to Julian weeks ago. The apartment was dark. I heard voices from the bedroom. You almost killed me. Sebastian was yelling. She tried to feed me shrimp. Why did you tell her I liked shrimp? Because I like shrimp. Julian yelled back. And I was the one on the date. You told me to charm her. You charmed her too much. Now she wants you. Is that a problem? Julian's voice dropped, becoming dangerous. Maybe she deserves someone who actually appreciates her. Not someone who uses her for cash while playing house with Emily. Don't you dare, Sebastian hissed. You know the plan. We get the tuition paid for the semester, then I break up with her. Emily waits. You go back to being the shadow. I'm tired of being the shadow, Seb. I stood in the hallway listening. The floating comments were going wild. Oh snap, Julian is rebelling. Sibling rivalry arc. She's outside the door. Run. I pushed the bedroom door open. Both boys froze. They were shirtless, identical chests heaving with anger. So, I said, leaning against the doorframe. Who is who again? I'm getting confused. Sebastian turned white. Julian. Julian smiled. A slow, predatory smile. I'm Julian, he said, stepping forward. The one who likes shrimp. The one who wears the ring. The one who kisses you back. Sebastian lunged at him. Shut up. I stepped between them. Stop. I looked at Sebastian. You used me. For money. While dating Emily. Sebastian struggled. It's not like that. You trapped me. With your money. I had no choice. You always have a choice, I said coldly. And you chose to be a coward. Get out. This is my apartment. Actually, I pulled a paper from my purse. I bought the building last week. My lawyer sent the eviction notice this morning. You missed it because you were too busy panicking about shrimp. Sebastian's jaw dropped. I turned to Julian. And you? Julian looked at me, hope and fear warring in his eyes. You lied too, I said. You played along. You mocked me in your texts. I started that way, Julian admitted. But things changed. Prove it, I said. How? Pack your bags, I said. Leave him. Leave the scheme. Come with me. Tonight. Sebastian laughed. He won't go. We're twins. We do everything together. He's not going to become your pet just because. Julian walked past Sebastian. He grabbed a duffel bag from under the bed. He started throwing clothes in it. The silk pajamas. The shirts I bought him. Julian. Sebastian whispered. What are you doing? I'm leaving, Seb. Julian zipped the bag. Good luck with Emily. And the rent. He walked to me and took my hand. Let's go. Julian moved in with me. Not as a guest. Not as a secret. But as my boyfriend. But I wasn't naive. I knew the floating comments were still there. He's just doing this for the long con. He's going to steal her money and run. Poor Sebastian is homeless now. I watched Julian closely. He was attentive. He cooked badly, but he tried. He went to my boring charity galas and held my hand and charmed the old ladies. But one night, I found him on the balcony, staring at his phone. He was looking at a photo of Sebastian. Sebastian looked thin, tired, working a waiter job at a diner. You miss him, I said. Julian jumped. No. I worry about him. He's an idiot. He's never had to work a day in his life. Go help him, I said. Julian looked at me shocked. What? Go give him some money. Help him with rent. I know you've been saving the allowance I give you. I haven't, Julian said. I donated it. What? To the animal shelter, Julian shrugged. I don't want your money, Kaya. I never did. That was Seb's thing. I wanted to see if I could be someone else for a while. Someone you liked. I stared at him. The comments floated by. Wait, he donated it? Is Julian actually a good guy? I think he really loves her. I walked over and hugged him. You don't have to be someone else. I like Julian. The one who can't cook and likes shrimp and has a conscience. Julian buried his face in my neck. I love you, he whispered. For real. Life was good for 3 months. Until Emily showed up. She came to my office. She looked disheveled. You ruined his life, she spat. Sebastian dropped out. He's working double shifts. He's miserable. He made his choices, I said, signing a document without looking up. He did it for us. Emily cried. We were going to get married. We needed the money to start a life. So you were okay with him whoring himself out? I asked. Interesting moral compass, Emily. It wasn't whoring. It was acting. Well, the show's over, I said. Security. As Emily was dragged out, she screamed. Julian is lying too. Ask him about the bet. I froze. What bet? The bet with his frat brothers. Emily yelled. Who could bag the rich cougar first? It wasn't about tuition. It was a game. Both of them. I sat in my office silence. A game. I drove home. Julian was making dinner. Spaghetti again. We need to talk, I said. Julian turned, smiling. Then he saw my face. The smile died. Did you make a bet? I asked. Julian put the spoon down. He didn't deny it. He didn't lie. Yes, he said softly. At the beginning. Before I met you. Before the first date. So it was all a lie. I felt a crack in my chest. A real one. The start was a lie. Julian stepped forward. But the middle, the end, that wasn't. Kaya, I stopped talking to those guys months ago. I told them to go to hell. I lost the bet on purpose by moving in with you and telling Sebastian to screw off. You lied by omission, I said. Get out. Kaya, please. Get out. Julian left. He took nothing. Not the clothes, not the watch I gave him. Just his duffel bag. The house was quiet. Too quiet. I checked the floating comments. They were gone. Since the game was over, the narrative had ended. I was no longer the protagonist of a drama. I was just a lonely woman in a big house. A week passed. Then too, I hired a private investigator. Not to stalk them, but to check. Sebastian was still working at the diner. Emily had left him, ironic considering she blamed me for ruining their future. And Julian? Julian was working at the animal shelter. Volunteering. He was sleeping in his car. I drove to the shelter. I parked across the street. I watched him. He was cleaning cages. He looked happy in a sad way. He was talking to a dog. He walked over. Hey, I said. Julian looked up. He looked terrible. Stubble, dark circles. But his eyes lit up when he saw me. Hi, he said. You're sleeping in your car, I said. It's not so bad, he shrugged. I have the heated seats you installed. I laughed. A weak, watery laugh. Why didn't you go back to Sebastian? Or your parents? Because I wanted to be the man you thought I was, Julian said. Independent. Honest. You're an idiot, I said. I know. Come home, I said. Julian froze. To the guest room? To the master bedroom, I said. But your cooking lessons start tomorrow. I can't eat spaghetti again. Julian dropped the hose. He ran to me. He hugged me, smelling like wet dog and bleach. And it was the best smell in the world. 6 months later, Sebastian knocked on our door. He looked better. Clean-shaven. I came to return the money, he said, handing me an envelope. For the sushi. And the tuition I used. Keep it, I said. Consider it a severance package. Sebastian looked at Julian, who was standing behind me holding our new puppy, a rescue obviously. You look happy, Juju, Sebastian said. I am, Julian smiled. You. Getting there, Sebastian said. I'm re-enrolled, paying my own way this time. He looked at me. I'm sorry. For everything. Apology accepted, I said. Now go away before I charge you for the air you're breathing. Sebastian laughed. A real laugh. He walked away. I closed the door. Julian kissed my forehead. Ready for bed? He asked. Yeah, I said. And as I walked up the stairs, I realized I didn't see any floating comments anymore. No audience. No judgments. Just us. Real. Flawed. And finally truly in love. The end.